Good morning from the Better Business Bureau. I'm Monde Donaldson with the Better Business Bureau, and I'm so happy to be with y'all today in the Calhoun County area. I was fortunate enough to live in Anniston many years ago for about 2 years, and I really enjoyed my time there. So it's so great to be back with you, even though I'm not there in person, but to share some of the experiences that the Better Business Bureau has had and how it can help you attract and retain new businesses. And most of our conversation today is going to be on the 5 gestures of trust. So Claire, if you would get us started. As I told you, I'm Monde Donaldson. I'm the Vice President of the BBB Educational Foundation. The Better Business Bureau, we are the Better Business Bureau serving Central and South Alabama. Our service area is from around the Birmingham, Anniston, Gadsden area, everything south to the Gulf Coast to the Wiregrass, except for 4 counties in the Auburn area. We serve consumers, we serve businesses, we accredit businesses who have very high standards for their business practices. You have to have all your licenses, you can't have criminal records, you have to pass a very high standard to become a member of the Better Business Bureau. Specifically, my job is to go out and educate the community, and that's what I'm here for today. Is to educate you and your business on how you can retain customers and how we can ingrain some of these relationships and solidify them so that you can get better businesses and that you become that you can get more customers and that you can become a better business. I'm very grateful to the Calhoun County Chamber for having me back. I enjoyed my visit with them last time and with some of you. So hopefully I'll see you again next time, but let's get started for today. So we're going to talk about the 5 gestures of trust. We're going to talk about the idea of this. We're going to look at the overview of the findings. We're going to find out what the 5 gestures of trust are, how you can apply them to your business, and then we're going to actually give you some resources you can log on to or come back to get later on. So first is going to be the overview of the findings. So let me say that trust matters, and also let me say that the Better Business Bureau in Alabama is part of an international network. So this study was done with BBBs all across our country, Canada and Mexico, and we surveyed businesses and non-businesses to find out what relationships do we need to build on? What are the 5 basic principles that you can do to make your business stronger and better? So the first thing we found out is that trust matters to customers. So in business in general, on a 10-point scale, how important do you believe customer trust is to your company's success? And look at that, 9.5. And we asked consumers the same question, and that the 8.6 said trust did matter. Okay, Claire? Only 1 in 4 consumers reported being completely likely to trust companies with which they do business. Kind of interesting there. Okay. So how is trust changing over time? And I really think this is changing because we've got so much more internet business. That's just my opinion, because there's a lot of companies that maybe weren't around 6 months ago, 8 years ago, 5 years ago. So if you look at whether where trust is, businesses, look at the numbers there. There's less trust with businesses, and it's up to 44% on less trust. It's 17 on more trust, and look at over at the consumers, 13 for more trust and 30% with less trust. So what makes consumers trust a business? And look at the words here: honesty, integrity, ethics, transparency. You know, these are words we've probably heard all our adult life, but as we go through today, I think you're going to hear words that you've heard in Sunday school or words you've heard your whole life, and it's basically treat people the way you want to be treated. So look, a good reputation built over time. They're transparent. They have a history of honesty, and they have a history of doing the right thing. Good customer service. And number 3, there it is, good customer service and quality. Quality and excellence in customer service. Those are so high. All right, here we go. So what distinguishes trust in companies? We have quite a few things. They're quick to make things right. They focus on treating customers, employers well, and we make it easy for customers to get their money back. So highly trusted, look at a lot, we start there with some 9.7s up at the top, and then we go down to 7.9 on how the ratings went. Okay, Claire. Here's some more, what distinguishes trusted companies? You know, always, this is from the customer standpoint of view. They tend to focus on providing value. Okay, now we're going to talk about the 5 gestures, what they are and how they work. All right, here we go. Across the bottom, honesty, transparency, being proactive, being humble, and being equitable. And this pyramid shows you that if we follow those 5 principles, we build on each one of the things as we go up. We earn respect. We earn trust. We get a better business experience. And in turn, we've come to the top of the pyramid and we've built better customer relations. So the 5 things that we're going to talk about today are honesty, transparency, being proactive, being humble, and being equitable. All right. This is like a little DNA cell, and this is one of my favorite slides because I like what's over here in the corner about show respect, get trusted, be better. What company doesn't want to go by those 3 principles? So that means show respect for your employees, show respect for your customers. You will get trusted. Your employees will trust you. Your customers will trust you. You'll attract new customers because the word will get out and you will be better. So if you look around here up on the little circle there on our little DNA cell, there they all are. They all work together. You get trusted, you be better, you show respect, and then you just keep being consistent. You keep being competent. All those are things, it's not something when you go to work every day that you're going to think, well, let me be humble, let me be transparent. You're thinking about, well, what customer's coming in today, or did my supplies for my doggy daycare come in, or how many loans am I going to do today at the credit union? Those are probably the things you're thinking about, but in the back of your mind and in what you need to bring out to your employees is these 5 principles. So Claire, if you'll continue to go, we're going to talk about each one of them and what businesses told us about being honest. And that says honesty is what builds trust the most. Without honesty, you might as well not exist. Where did we learn this? We learned it in the 10 Commandments. You know, we learned it in Sunday school. Be honest. Okay, so if you've done business with somebody who may be a little dishonest or took your money or scams you, you're never going to go back to them. If you don't feel like they were forthright, if they didn't give you a complete estimate on what they were doing and came back and said they needed some more, you know, they weren't being honest. It left a very bad taste in your mouth. And as we go, if you think of an instance or something you want to share, or if you have a question, we have a chat box down at the bottom, and I'll be happy to answer any questions about the Better Business Bureau or about the presentation when we get to the end. So there again, we're starting with our first gesture of the 5 gestures of trust if you're just getting on with us, and that is be honest. Be transparent. We have nothing to hide. Now, say you came in and the business made a mistake. The first thing you'd like for them to say was, I'm so sorry, we didn't do what we told you we would do. We want to make it right. That's what being transparent means. I mean, there is, you know, nothing to hide. We are willing to work with you to make sure this is that we can continue to have you as a customer. All right, number 3, be proactive. You know, anticipate what it is our customer might want or need and work together to achieve their goals. This could be something like somebody coming in and looking for a particular item and you're trying to sell them something else instead. But you may want to say, you know, really the best screwdriver for you is down the road. Or that you need to be saying, you know what, you're the 5th person that's come in here today looking for that product. Let me see if I can order it for you, or let me make sure we get that on our shelves. I know there's a grocery store down here, and I've heard them. I don't believe y'all have Rouse's up there, but you might. And when you go into Rouse's and they say, did you find everything you need today? And at our store, the store manager will come around. If we say, no, we were looking for a particular product, they'll say, well, let me go get the store manager, or can you go see them? And they'll say, well, let us order that for you. I've particularly seen that in some of the wine selections down here, in some of the stores that have big wine selections. If you start asking for a particular bottle of wine, or even if it's something like Louisiana hot sauce, they're going to make sure that you're going to keep coming back to Rouse's to get that wine, to get that hot sauce, or whatever it might be, because they are being proactive. They want to anticipate what other customers want, and they want to anticipate what you want as well. All right? So, being humble. As I said a few minutes ago, you know, as you're walking into work every day, you know, maybe you need just to sit back for a minute before you get your day started and realize, and think about this, without my customers, I couldn't stay in business. I try to do my best and to make sure they are treated with good customer service. You want to treat people like you want to be treated. I've used this example before, like when you go to Moe's Mexican and the first thing they say is be humble. Well, they're welcoming you, welcome to Moe's. You know, they're making you feel good about walking in the door. So they're being treated with some good customer service. So think about being humble. I love all of these, but you know, when you started your business, the first thing you weren't thinking about is I want to be humble every day. But really, you wouldn't be there without the customers, and so you need to treat them as you would want to be treated. Okay. And be equitable. Now, this one's a little bit harder for some, depending on what kind of business that you're in. It's not all about one party, but about the entire situation. And you want to look at your relationship as a partnership. You know, you want you want to make it easy for them to do business with you, and you want them to feel like they've been treated fairly and equitably, and treat everyone the same as they walk in the door. Okay, next. So look what the customers said, how important these 5 gestures are. Look what's up at first. Be honest. 8.6 out of 10 said be honest, be transparent, be equitable, be proactive, and be humble. Well, the honesty is the highest, of course, and then we have being humble the lower, but the other 3 are right there with each other. They're all together. It's not one or the other. It's all 5 of these can make your life a lot better at your place of business. Okay, so here it is. Here's how respondents are reported a very positive experience with the company that used these 5 gestures, and then those that reported a negative experience. So, you know, are they consistently honest? Are they consistently transparent? Are they consistently proactive? And there again, there were, you know, about a third of them almost every time did not feel like they felt like it was a negative experience. Okay. There you see what the potential could be. They correlated the 5 gestures and revealed the importance of how important they are to your everyday business. All of them. As I said, they're all in line with each other. They're all in line. You can see that businesses see them. No, this is the customers. Customers reveal the potential, the importance of the 5 gestures of trust. Okay. If I'm going too fast for you, we can always go back and you can ask me questions about anything. And we might even want to relate it to a particular business you have. Or maybe I would like for people at the end, if they would like, to maybe share without, if you want, if you don't want to name the name of the business, I certainly understand that, but you might want to share a positive or a negative experience, or why you might want to go back to a particular business. What did they do right? See if you can apply any of these principles that we've talked about today and share with our group. Okay, Claire. So look, then we went back and we asked the businesses, what did they think? So, they felt like if they were consistently honest, look, they were highly trusted. If they were consistently proactive, they were highly trusted. If they were transparent, if they were humble, they were equitable, they were highly trusted. They believe that their customers are important and loyal. And they believe that their company has a positive reputation. And so, that could be the same thing about a restaurant. You want the customers to be satisfied, and you don't want them walking out the door not being happy, because the first thing they're going to do is tell their neighbor or tell their coworker or word of mouth is how particularly in today's world, or even social media. I've seen quite a few businesses down here get slammed on social media for poor customer service or poor customer relations, the customer not being feel like they were treated fairly and equitably. Things like that can ruin you, particularly in today's world with social media. All right, Claire. So let's see what the 5 gestures look and feel like to the customer. So we're going to talk about, I'm going to give you a couple of examples here, and we're going to see how the 5 gestures apply. So the first one is going to be a story of a lady named Sonia, and she ordered a gift basket for her parents. It was one of those nice food baskets. It was an online order, decorated with jellies and jams and cheese and crackers and things like that. And then the next month, her parents got another one. And so she looked at her credit card bill, and sure enough, there it was again. So she called the company and she said, this is not what I ordered. It was a one-time gift basket. And they said, oh, no, ma'am, you signed up for the monthly basket of the month. And she said, no, that is not what I want. I just wanted the one time. Well, instead of saying, I'm so sorry, ma'am, let me fix that for you. We're sorry you didn't understand our directions, or our website was a little difficult to navigate, but you made a mistake, and so we're not going to fix it. So even though her parents liked the product and she had been happy with the product before, her whole experience turned around with that subscription food basket. They placed all the blame on the customer, that even though the description was technically correct, it was not, the message from the company was not delivered in a way that the average customer could follow it. It made the customer get angry, and it looked like the company didn't want to work with her no matter what. So, the company representative communicated that she didn't care whether they did any business with her, and they brushed her complaint off, and said by citing policy and the customer's own error. I'm sure we've all been faced with something like this, but you know, it's the gracious, ethical company that says, ma'am, I'm so sorry we didn't understand your order. Let's see how we can fix it. We want to keep you as a customer. That's how we want to build these relationships with customers. And this is what I want y'all to kind of thinking about as starting today, is taking these 5 principles and applying them to some stories that you can tell. I think we have 1 or 2 more stories, Claire. I want to thank my associate, Claire Jones. She just graduated from college in Birmingham, and I'm actually in Mobile. The Better Business Bureau has 2 offices. Our main office is in in Birmingham, right by UAB. We have a staff of more than 20 up there. And then we have another office down here in Mobile that serves South Alabama. So Claire is being my able assistant up there. I don't think you can see her, but she is there. Maybe she is there. There she is. Okay, so then Sonia, she likes to do that shopping online. So this time she placed an order with an overseas company for some clothing. And when it came, it was the wrong color. So she went back online immediately, got on the customers, talked to customer service, and told them that, you know, that was not the size and color that she ordered. Could we get the right color? And they said, oh, yes, please. We'll just go ahead and send it to you right now. And she asked about the return. They said, take your time returning the item. It's kind of like the way Lands' End and LL Bean work. You know, they want to make sure that you are happy and that they are doing it right. So what did this online clothing company do? They responded immediately to the customer's inquiry, and they gave her a way to get what she wanted. They trusted the customer to return the item she ordered, even before sending the replacement item. They shared the power with her. Remember, we talked about being equitable is sharing. You know, look at the little icon there. It's, you know, it's the weights. They're together. And then being humble. They wanted the customer to be happy. That was what was important to them. They wanted that customer to be a partner going forward in the business's success. We have so many complaints every day. One of the things we do at the Better Business Bureau is that we have 3 operators on duty 5 days a week, taking customer calls, whether it be for how do I find a roofer, or how do I find a plumber, or how can but many of our calls are to complain about businesses, how that when they are not completing jobs, when they have taken people's money, not come back and finish work, have defrauded people when it comes to buying cars, repairs, things like that. We have hundreds of complaints a year against different businesses, and we do have a complaint department, and we follow up. Your complaint comes to us. It's assigned to one of our caseworkers, and we take it upon ourselves to be your advocate in working with that business. So that's a big part of the Better Business Bureau. And I just thought about that right now as I've been telling these stories this morning, because this is an example of a company that did right, but the first one was not. So just think if you were that person and you wanted to file a complaint or do a customer review on a business you weren't not happy with. That's what happens in today's time. People get on the internet, they do customer reviews, but the BBB is here if you ever needed to check out a business before you made a purchase with them, or made an investment or something like that. Okay, we have one more story, and this is a good story. And this kind of reminds me of the local Ace Hardware right here in Spanish Fort, where I live, and down in South Alabama. So John was out working in his yard, and there's been so many people down here in South Alabama working in these yards these days since Hurricane Sally. And he came into the store with his work clothes, and he had been working with a particular piece of equipment, and he came to the hardware store and he said, I needed this piece of equipment. I'm in the middle of my project, and I can't go any further until I replace this screw, this bolt, whatever the little piece of equipment was, whatever the little piece was. The retail associate looked at what John brought in and said, "I'm so sorry, we don't have this." And he said, "You know, I know we could get it for you, but I can look at you and I can see that you're trying to get this finished today. You're in the middle of the project. You know, if you just go down the street, I know they have that item for you." And he sent him to a big box store. Well, John was very happy, and he'd been going to that store for a long time, and he came back the very next time too, because he felt like that the retail associate, that he listened to him and he solved the problem without the customer even having to ask. You know, the customer didn't have to say, "Well, could you tell me where I could find that?" John knew, the sales associate knew exactly where he could find it. And even though it meant leaving his store, he knew that John needed to do it that day. See, he saw the customer as a partner. And so he was trying to help him with his immediate need, even though it meant the company would not make any money that day. And then there again, he was being equitable. You know, he shared information that he could have kept to himself and that he could have controlled. So, you know, he could have been kept to himself and he wouldn't have had to help the man go to another store. But instead, he greeted him, he gave him a resolve to his issue, and John came back to that store the very next time. So I'm going to read some of these to you. The next things will be potential applications that you can use in your everyday business. So Claire? So I don't know how often you have staff meetings or if it's just you and 2 or 3 people. I don't know if the people that are on today have a staff of 3 or a staff of 10 or a staff of 20. But you know, it's always great to have staff meetings. And this whole topic might be something to bring up at your next staff meeting. Kim has told me that this whole presentation will be shared on the Calhoun County YouTube page. I imagine later today or tomorrow. So if you don't get all these principles that I'm saying, or you want to get these potential applications that I'm getting ready to talk about right now, and then right after this, I'll be talking about some resources that you can use. You can come back to Kim. I know she'd be happy to help you, or you can contact us at the Better Business Bureau. And I'll be giving you some contact information for the Better Business Bureau right at the end of this presentation. So what are things that you can do right now? You know, you can ask your employees and your customers about the experiences they've had that make them like doing business with you. You know, and ask them to give examples. When you receive a customer compliment or a complaint, apply the 5 gestures to the framework. Do what we just did with John and Sandra. Take the 5 principles and say, how do these plug into this complaint or this compliment? You know, as I said earlier, plan a discussion with your employees and ask them to identify how they're already using them. And I like this one too. You know, if you use customer surveys or feedback regularly, you can incorporate these questions that go beyond just asking for, were you satisfied with our service today? You know, were you treated equitably? Were we proactive? Did we make you feel welcome? What do you think? How many times do you make an online order and you get a survey almost immediately and they say, how was our customer service today? That's the kind of thing we want you to be thinking about. How you can do better to retain and attract customers by implementing these 5 gestures. These are easy things. These are things that you all know, but as I said, it's not something that you think about when you go to work every day, but you probably should be thinking about them because they're basic principles of life. And then number 5, use the 5 gestures to strategically plan how you can approach your customer relationships. I think one of those slides said, be trusted, be respected, be better. So that's what this number 5 application is all about. How you can be better, how you can identify your gaps, and how you can plan to close them. Okay, next. So next slide is going to be some resources for you. We have a big booklet, and there it is right there, and you can get it an online copy of it if you go to bbb.org/5gestures. You can download it. It goes into each gesture very thoroughly. A lot of our chambers around the state are using them and have one for a resource. I can send you one personally if anybody wants just a whole book to go by. I have some copies. We have some in Birmingham and we have some down here in Mobile. So we can send you this. But there it is, bbb.org/5gestures. All right. And then here's some of the graphics that we use. So if you wanted to just take this and print it out and use it, put it in your break room, put it in your clock out room, just use it as a tool to work with your employees. You know, the little pyramid and the little DNA symbols down at the bottom are really my two favorites. And there it is. Be positive, be better, be proactive. All those things. We want to do business with people that follow these 5 gestures. And maybe you've got 3 out of 5 and you just need to work on 2, or maybe you're doing them all. But these are all things that the Better Business Bureau, our international office, our Mobile office, our Birmingham office, these are the kinds of business principles that we want people to work towards, and you will have a much better business environment if you do. All right, I think there's one more. So that's one of our very last slides, and I'm going to give you another number here at the bottom that I think probably should have been on there as I'm looking at it. So as I said, we have a Better Business Bureau serving Central and South Alabama. Our Birmingham office right next to UAB, in walking distance of UAB. Our Mobile office, which would be a little far from you guys up in Anniston, but we're right down by the tunnel, the Bankhead Tunnel in Mobile, if anybody's ever heard of that. Our website there is bbb.org/CSAL, that's Central and South Alabama. We have a fantastic Facebook page. We have a young man who just started working with us, got some great tips for businesses. Lots going on on our Facebook right now. Any kind of scams going on, he just does scam alerts all the time. We put up one just this week about Prime Day scams. I could be happy to talk about that a little more if anybody has any comments down in the chat. We have a Twitter account, and we just recently started an Instagram account. So we've got you covered on the social media. That's my personal number there on the 251-300-3388. Our toll-free number is not up there, but I think we need to add that to the slide. I just realized that, and I apologize. So if you want to talk to an operator, if you have a question about a business, if you want to get more copies, if you want a copy of this presentation, we're happy to send you the whole presentation so that you can share it with your customers, with your employees. So our toll-free number, and I'm going to say it 2 or 3 times, and I'm trying to go slow with it, is 800-824-5274. So that's 800-524, 800-524-5274. If there's any questions in the chat, let me see. I don't see any. I don't know whether Kim can see any, but I do not see any. Does anybody have any questions, or if they want to share any comments about a business that they really liked, or business experience they really had, or customer experience that they really had? Please feel free to jump on the chat and share. So let me give you the toll-free number one more time, 800-824-5274. Our website is bbb.org/CSAL. So we are the Better Business Bureau serving Central and South Alabama. We are so happy to be with you in Anniston today, that we've had the opportunity to be with you in the Anniston area today. Calhoun County is a beautiful area. I can't imagine how pretty it is right now with the fall leaves starting to come in. Please feel free to call on us at any time if we can be of any assistance to you. And thanks to Kim and the folks that, oh, we have one chat here. Sorry, we got one in here. Just about to wrap up. Oh, thank you. It's a great presentation. Thank you. So I want to thank all the folks at the Calhoun County Chamber for inviting me to be a part of this today. Y'all have a wonderful day, and God bless. Thank you.